Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And we're finally getting around to doing the World Tour videos for the Tempest Elite team. Now, because this team isn't what I would say the best team in the world, and certainly people shouldn't really be summoning on it, I'm only going to go in with the first two units, Trainee, the free-to-play Gobta, and Shuna. So this is assuming you don't pull for Benimaru. We don't know when the third final DPS unit is going to come out, assuming that it's fire and probably an AoE unit. So we're going to build a very basic Tempest Elite team using just those resources and some other options. And we're going to go through each stage of Conquest and just clear master difficulty for them, all one after the other. And then the next couple videos will be me taking on the Tempered Edge stages in batches, culminating in that final fight against Veldora, which I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have high hopes for. But we're going to go into using this team. So Trainee, Gobta, Old Space Rimuru. Mine is skill fused, but I'm going to assume that yours is not, probably. I wouldn't really worry too much about it. If he does or does not have the skill fusion. Free-to-play Geld, the new Shuna, and then old Water Shuna, who's going to be our single target, quote-unquote, DPS character. Both her and Gobta are single target alts, so that'll work pretty well for these Conquest fights. And then we've got, the alt buff, the pierce buff, technically the attack buff, the follow-up damage. So, I mean, this should work. Of course, my gear is much higher than, starting players, but at least this gives you an idea of how this should work and how you should approach these Conquest stages. But with that said, let's just go ahead and get started. Alright, turn one, we got fairly lucky. We'll go ahead and use the Gob to Orb Change, get a whole bunch of blues, and then we'll bring Shuna in for Geld and the other Shuna in for Space Rimuru, I guess. Ifrit can be pretty difficult because he just ults and crits so often in the first part of the fight that a lot of new players are just not going to be able to handle that with low tier gear. So the faster you get the stage done, the better, and the best way to do that is to get a lot of follow-up attacks and just whittle down his health very, very quickly. So, man, I wish I had Benimaru here, huh? Okay, so let's do the Shuna Orb Change. Cool. Who has the highest attack? It should be the new Shuna, right? 13-4. Yeah, okay, 11-2. So, what do I want to do here? 47 points. Let's do another orb change. 5 blues again. This time we'll get Trainee active. This will give us the follow-up attacks. And then that'll do even more whittling damage to this Ifrit. And we'll just send Water Shuna last since she has type advantage. So a lot of blues. 38, 37, 5,900 damage. Alright. I mean, we're taking him down. He's at half health. And then these will do, I mean, okay bits, except he guards 2 of them. So thanks for that. But we do have an ult for Shuna. And we're going to have 86 points to use here. And the stage is catered for blue orbs. So, I mean, that does help more than a bit. So let's bring you in for Gobta. Let's use your orb change. And who's it get? Okay, I think that works out perfectly. So let's, we could either send these orbs away, or we could do the pierce buff. One of the two. Or we could have just used the orb change with Shuna earlier, and that would have worked just fine, probably, huh? Well, we'll do that next time. Let's just do the pierce buff. And we'll see if we can just take out Ifrit with this combo. So we got 3 turns of Pierce. We've got a lot. We've got the extra alt gauge for her now. And we'll go ahead and send these blues. So we are not going to do too much because she's an AoE. 21-5 actually is not bad. Is not bad. And yeah, I think he's dead. Either from this attack or the follow-up. Nope, that attack. Alright, so there we go. Ifrit cleared in 3 turns. Again, if you're a newer player, it's going to take a little bit longer than that. You might take a little bit more damage. But honestly, like, even I misplayed there. So this should be okay for you, unless you're like, you started yesterday. But let's move on. Okay, so now remembering that Shuna has that entire orb hand switch, let's just go ahead and run with that. This time she has type advantage. 2 of our units have type advantage, so let's take Space Rimuru out because he's got orbs coming in. We'll send these Gobta orbs and get him out of here. And, okay, yeah, that's a lot of damage. Chabby does have pierce resistance. He does have a heal. He does guard. So he does quite a few things here. How much is his pierce resist? 30%. Okay, so if we were to pierce here, it really wouldn't do all that much. So I'm not going to worry too much about that buff then. So let's just get the full hand of blues. We'll get a lot of gauge going, and I think we'll get a decent amount of ult for the next turn as well with Shuna. So we're going to have some ult gauge here. We're going to get 100 guaranteed. He's going to heal back now. 8,000, 24,000. And then he's got the guard and super defense. So, or defense and super guard, sorry. I got that in the wrong order. So let's just go ahead and give Shuna her ult. Boom. We can just use her skill again here. And that's kind of makes the Shuna really, really good, especially for new players, because it takes all the RNG out. A lot of these characters are free to play, they're very old, they're easy to acquire, they're 3 stars or 4 stars, and so you may have access to a whole bunch of Tempest Elite units, and you can just plop them on the team, and you'd have a full orb change hand almost every turn. And by having that, that allows you to use your Protector a lot, it gets you all these follow-ups, it gets you extra points, it gets you extra ult gauge. So, and even if the follow-up orbs are fire, and it's type disadvantage, we are still taking his HP down. So, we could nuke here, certainly. But let's go ahead and just keep on going a little bit. We'll wait for the EX ult, and we'll just use Geld's orb change for fun. And then, hey, we'll give them all away, because they should go to Shuna anyways. There we go. Boom. And then we'll bring Gobta in, right? Gobta's already in, what am I talking about? We'll use his swap, and then that gives us a 6-hand of Shuna orbs, perfect. And if he doesn't die here, he'll die next turn. Yeah, if he doesn't guard some hits, they're going to hit pretty heavily. Okay, he's dead from the follow-ups, so there we go. Boom, that was even more difficult than the first fight. Alright, well, there's Master Chabby, done and out. Done and dusted, because I just got done playing Persona 3. Let's move on. Alright, I guess we'll just play into that whole full orb change just every fight now. There are some stages that do nerf blues a bit, so that'll be a little bit of a hassle, but these stages aren't super difficult enough for it to really matter. Here, though, blues are fine. We have 50, now we have 80. Perfect. And let's use this. And, you know, we could give them all away to Shuna, too. Why don't we just do that? And it'll get her very close to an ult, if not an ult. Very close to an ult. Alright, well, there we go. But it gets us 2 trainees, which means that she'll have an EX ult on turn 4 that we can send. Not that I think that we need to leave it that long. Okay, so we got attack lowered. Unfortunate. Doesn't really matter all that much, though. So let's go ahead and use the double trainee. We'll kind of let this turn just run. We'll send these Gobta orbs, and then next turn we'll have enough points to do a few of the buffs, and we'll just make it, you know, fun and interesting. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. We'll got some follow-up orbs now. We're type neutral, thankfully. Alright, he guards everything. Our attack is lowered, which means our follow-up attacks will not do as much damage. But now we have the buffing capability to do the pierce and the ult for fun, and we're going to wipe the Sky Dragon out of the world. Okay. And we do 52k on an AoE. It's fine. It's fine. It's serviceable. It's enough to kill, which is the whole point, right? As long as they do enough damage to actually take out the stage and win very quickly, then it doesn't matter what buffs you use, honestly. And again, we haven't really used Space Rimuru. We could have used him instead of somewhere else, but it didn't really matter. Alright, we're on to the Golem, which does have that hard 6-turn limit before he buffs himself up and wipes your entire front line. But I think we've already proven that we'll probably be okay. Space Rimuru has type disadvantage here, so I don't really want him up front. So let's just send these Shuna orbs, and we'll keep going with what we normally do. Alright, alright, here's a stage where the blues are nerfed. How long are they nerfed for? 2 turns. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's just get some gauge anyways, and let's send it all the way to Shuna. Perfect, and then you know what? Let's go ahead and bring Water Shuna in, because she is single target, and she'll do a bit more damage on her ult than the other Shuna would. But we are super weak point. We've got to keep that in mind, is that it is an Earth enemy, and we are effective against Earth. because of Trainee. Except we're stunned. But he missed one of us, which is great. But also not great. Well, I mean, I say that, because does this go to Shuna? Oh, perfect. Okay. So let's give her an alt gauge. Boom. And then let's give her all these blues that are not actually going to do anything. And if they don't do anything, the follow-up orbs won't do anything either. So just a wasted turn, but we did get quite a bit of alt. She's not an EX character, but we have 130 points, which means that we can now pierce and do everything else. And we're going to kill him on turn 4. So alt buff, pierce buff, and now the water resistance down does actually matter because we're going to nuke with a water unit. And the follow-up orbs will kill him. And that alt gauge went to the new Shuna because she's got higher attack. But we're still going to be fine because this ult's going to kill him. From Water Shuna. Yeah, 70k right there. Super weak point. Did we need those buffs? Probably not. I think he has less than 70k to begin with in his full HP. But hey, it's working so far. Alright, I think Hinata nerfs blue orbs as well. I think because you're meant to use a team that's orange focused in this stage. Quote unquote, right? And we don't have any dark characters, which, I mean, is not that big of an issue realistically. Let's just go ahead and send these Shunas, get her some ult. Again, she's single target, so she'll do a lot. Hinata gives herself crit resistance, but we're not a crit-focused team. She also gives herself guard and super guard and the element resistance, which, you know, can be slightly annoying, but it's not too much of a hassle. Space Room comes out, we'll convert all these to blues, and then we'll get a new Shuna out of here. And then we'll use Geld to, again, send them all the way to old Shuna. And boom. Perfect. And now that's a lot of that's a lot of protection gauge right there. Alright, cheeky counter. But we already have an ult for Water Shuna. And we're going to be pretty good on points, so we could probably safely nuke here, even at half HP. Even with the defense. The guard and the super guard are not affected by ults. You cannot guard an ult, so nothing really too big to worry about. And she only has 39,000 HP, so I think the single ult buff plus any follow-ups will be able to take her out. So let's go ahead and try this. She has an EX ult now, not that it really matters because she's not an EX character. And she does 26.5, and then, you know, now we're going to get guarded. But then the follow-up ult, 4k, oh, just almost enough. We could have used a few orb changes there, and that would have actually done it. But now we have another ult, and we have more points. So let's just do it again. Let's just do it again. There we go, 23k. Alright, cool. I mean, this is going quite smooth. Again, new players, your gear are not... Your characters won't be nearly as powerful as this, but I hope this gives you an idea of how this team should operate effectively to clear some of these early stages that are going to hold you back from getting gear, right? Alright, the Orc. Another stage that has that 6-turn mega nuke on the front line. So, you want to kill him before turn 6, and this team can certainly do that. Single target, Space Rimuru comes out. Cool, let's send these orbs. And yeah, he doesn't have that much health. None of them really have super butt tons of health. Conquest, especially now that they've gotten rid of the EX stage of Conquest, they're much easier to take on. So if you are wondering, it's like, oh, I'm having so much trouble with Conquest, just remember, it could have been worse. There used to be another difficulty. Alright, but he also does stun, so that is kind of unfortunate. Let's go ahead and, again, bring Shuna in, do the whole convert, boom, and then get her out of here. That way we can give all the orbs to old Shuna being single target, and we can pretty much enjoy the rest of our day together. Or it went to Space Rimuru. Okay, well. Sure, that works. Okay. Alright, so Shuna was not stunned. Alright, well, let's bring new Shuna in then. Because we already know that Rimuru has higher attack than her, so let's go ahead and do this. And we'll give Shuna the EX ult for turn 4. And we send these oranges. And we'll get max points plus the 30 next turn, and that'll give us the amount to double nuke. Or double buff, I guess. Alright, yep, there we go. Boom, right there, and now EX alt. Perfect. Okay. And buff, and buff. This time we'll use the Space Rimuru buff plus the alt resistance down. Again, having the alt resistance down in the skill fusion is not really that impactful because they are not built to handle that type of damage anyways. So yeah. You would have done like 55k instead. Oh no, you still would have killed. So don't be like, I don't want to bring Space Rimuru if he's not skill fused, blah, blah, blah. Joker's teams are too outlandish or something like that. It's like, no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Just use the team. Try it out. Does it work for you? Yes? No? Yes? Great. No? All right, fix something. Get new gear. Get better gear. Play the game a little bit more. Grind a little bit harder. I don't know. Maybe I'm being facetious. All right, the final test. Space Milim, who is going to be a very difficult opponent for all new players, essentially, is because she just hits so damn hard. Even without the highest difficulty stage, she does a literal butt ton of damage. And now we have 2 units that are type disadvantage, so definitely not the greatest scenario. If you have some Earth units to throw in here, that would be probably much better. But we don't, so we're going to have to make do with what we got. Alright. And the reason she's hard is because she's got so much pierce. She's got attack buff, she pierces, she can hit someone 4 times, and actually we have 3 units that are wind, now that I look at it. We have Geld. Alright, well that's double not great. Alright, yeah, the thing about Milim is that if she really wants to kill somebody off, then she certainly will. So let's go ahead and use a defense buff right here, and full hand of blues. And we'll... yeah, we'll just do this, I guess. 39, 47, 47. Alright, so Rimuru and Shuna are doing about the same amount of damage. Shuna would obviously be better because she's single target. This could hurt, though, depending on what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Shuna can't be up here anymore, so you're going to have to go away. Yeah, okay. So we'll give the alt gauge to new Shuna, and then we're gonna have to pray that she doesn't die this turn, and then we'll AoE nuke next turn with a number of different buffs. We've got the follow-up orbs. We're gonna use the orb change again with Shuna. The defense skill we could use as well, so why not? And it'll just save us. We already had that on, but I just want to reapply it, so everybody has it now. We'll send Space Rimuru last, because he does the most. Alright, yeah. We got wind units, and 1 space unit. The follow-up attacks will probably do decent damage, even though they are type neutral. But they are based off the damage that our other orbs do. So, yeah. As long as no one dies here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so if she had sent all 4 on Shuna, she would have died. And that would have been no bueno. But we managed to live a little bit longer, and that guarantees our victory. Boom. 52k on an AoE type disadvantage. Alright. 3 wind units in the Space Milim stage can be scary. I don't really recommend it. So if you have someone else to swap out, certainly do that, and it'll make your life a little easier. But there we go. There is every Master Conquest stage done with this Tempest Elite team, only having 2 of the new summonable units plus the free-to-play Gobta, and then everyone else is either free or quite old. So it's definitely doable. Obviously, the supports are out of reach for a lot of people, but you know you'll have to use what you have, and maybe not take on the final stage of Conquest, but maybe the one lower, and start building up your gear that way, and then slowly enhance your characters, and then move up in the world into the master difficulty of Conquest, and then really start working on getting those hammers, the gold hammers, and the cores especially. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.